The Election Commission of India, prodded by the Supreme Court, seems to have found its powers. In the last 2 days, the election watchdog has banned 4 politicians from campaigning for speeches that violate the Model Code of Conduct. These politicians were using religion to garner votes. In one case, there were sexist comments, and in the other, open threats to voters saying, "Vote for us or else." The question is, does a ban on campaigning for 48 or 72 hours work as a deterrent for politicians who routinely cross the line? What else can the Election Commission do, and why did it take the Supreme Court to push it into action? Speaking on some of these issues today with us, our former Chief Election Commissioner O.P. Rawat. We're also speaking with Pankuri Pathak of the Congress Party and Shweta Shalini of the BJP also joining us on the show. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Rawat, let me start by getting your first comment on the action we've seen from the Election Commission in the last couple of days. Today in the Supreme Court, it's been reported that, the Supreme Court said, "So you have found your powers," and the lawyer representing the Election Commission said, "Yes, we have found our powers." Why did it take so long?
Whatever I gathered from the news sources, I found that getting the reports from the field formations took time, and that's why they could not take action very, very promptly.
Okay, give us a sense of the action that has been taken, which is, banning these politicians from campaigning. Yogi Adityanath, Maneka Gandhi, Mayawati, and Azam Khan are the 4 people who've been handed down this ban. Is there a precedent for the Election Commission to have done this in the past, and what is the range of action that the Election Commission can actually take?
Actually, in the past also, there have been instances when, even after warning by the Election Commission of India, the political leaders did not stop and repeated this kind of indiscretion in their campaign speeches, and the Election Commission banned them from campaigning later on. So this is not the first time. It has been happening there. Second question is that whether it will have any effect. Yes, it will, because these people have only 14 days to campaign, to reach out to the electorate. And out of 14 days, if you are banned from campaigning or speaking to public for 2 days or 3 days, that's a huge loss to them. The powers other than this are, if there is any substantive law getting violated, Election Commission can order that FIR be lodged, and after investigation, due process should be started. That is that.
Okay, O.P. Rawat says that this will hurt, because if you're banned from campaigning for 2 or 3 days out of, the few days that you've left, it hurts. But we have, Newswire's report today that the BJP MLA from Fatehpura, Ramesh Katara, has said to people while campaigning that, make sure that you vote for us, because Modi ji has put cameras, and now that you have pictures on voter cards, we will know if you've not voted for us. I have Shweta Shalini from the BJP on the phone line. Shweta, what is this urge that BJP leaders seem to have to threaten and scare voters into voting for you? Do you think that people will not voluntarily vote for you?
First and foremost, let me make it very clear that I do not know the case that you are discussing right now. I haven't heard this statement, and hence I will not comment on this particular case. But as far as appeal to vote is concerned, that is legal, and every single person today needs to ensure that he appeals all the people around him to vote. Having said that, it's also very crystal clear that we are an extremely proud democracy, and we would want to strengthen our election commission to ensure that...
Ms. Shalini, I'm speaking about a specific case. You say you don't know about Ramesh Katara. I'm sure you know about what Maneka Gandhi has said. Not on 1 but 2 occasions.
Yes, but I'm sure you also know that she has also gone officially and apologized for the statement. And if you actually look at the statement, that she had made, it was said very casually, and in which she has said that मैंने बहुत ही घरेलू अंदाज में ये statement कहा है और मैं माफी मांगती हूँ इसके लिए. I understand that we understand our issues whenever it is said in the flow of things, but I think and I appreciate the stand that EC has taken and the Supreme Court has taken. We stand by it. My party stands by it, and it is in all fairness. And I'm sure I agree with your experts that yes, every minute at this point of time counts. So yes, I think it is a punishment which is worth it.
Let me come to Pankuri Pathak. Where do you stand on this issue, Pankuri? And I've invited the BJP and the Congress here to get a broader sense of how these elections are being conducted and how politicians are campaigning across party lines. You have crass language, you have threats in some case, you have sexist comments. And why do you think there is a need to bring the political discourse so low?
First of all, I would like to thank the Supreme Court and the Election Commission of India for taking this action. And I must tell your viewers also that it was on the representation of the Congress party, because we went and we gave a representation. Our delegation met the Election Commission, and the action that has been taken was proposed by our delegation only, that if anybody is making such remarks, if they are violating the Model Code of Conduct, they should be barred for campaigning for a specific period. Because what we are seeing in this election is an unprecedented violation of the Model Code of Conduct and also of the specific guidelines that have been issued by the Election Commission. For example, the Election Commission made it very clear that you are not supposed to use the Indian Army or refer to the Army or any Army personnel for asking for votes. But we have seen that the ruling party has continuously been doing this. Even the Prime Minister and the party president have been asking for votes in the name of our army. So the way the violations were happening, the way there was a mockery that was being made of the guidelines of the Election Commission, be it a chief minister, be it a senior cabinet minister, the sort of comments that were coming in, be it Menka Gandhi, be it Yogi Adityanath.
Sir, with all your years of experience, do you agree with one view which is coming across, that it's never been this bad? And all of the criticism that the Election Commission has faced in this case. Now, there are 4 bans which have been handed down. People are asking why not, to others. Of course, the Congress asked why not to Prime Minister Modi for what he said about, first-time voters using the army. There has been a ruckus today because a Bangladeshi national and an actor has been used in campaign by the TMC. Do you think that the Election Commission has been unable to send out a strong message, and that's why things have come to a head?
That perception may be there because of some time taken for gathering information, the facts from the field, and otherwise whatever action Election Commission has been taking in these campaigns, I feel that it is adequate and it should have the desired impact on the political class.
Why so late, sir, was the question. Last week you had 66 former bureaucrats who wrote a letter addressed to the President of India and the Election Commission, and putting down 9 points where they thought that there was not enough action taken. Action was taken a couple of days, 2-3 days after that letter was sent out. But by then the impression had already gone out that the Election Commission was going very easy. Look at the first response to the Yogi Adityanath, Ali Bajrangbali comment. There was a slap on the wrist. It was after the Supreme Court censure that a 48 or 72-hour ban was handed down.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, Election Commission used to get the facts and reports from the field within few hours earlier, but this time it seems that gathering facts and reports from the field, the videos from the field, took time, and that is what caused the perception.
Okay, Tathagat Satpathy is joining us now. Tathagat, your answer to the question that what has happened this time round? Have politicians gotten more desperate, or is it that there are more smartphones to actually capture what they're saying in these rallies?
We can always blame technology, smartphones, and the modern world, but I think your first part is correct. that politicians are becoming extremely desperate, and it seems like May 23 would be a make or break situation for their whole rest of their lives, you know. You see people in the opposition, the way they are talking, from Mayawati to the Mufti to all hues, and you go up to the Prime Minister, the way he is appealing for votes in the name of the army, and the way he has said that dedicate your vote to the Pulwama or the Balakot Air Force people. It is ridiculous, and we have crossed the limit of the ridiculous also. We have reached a stage where it's no holds barred, and it's a sad thing, a sad event for the democracy of India. But I would also greatly blame the EC for the image that the present incumbents, the retired officers who are manning the EC, the way they have created a very feeble negative image, whereas earlier, I remember the EC had an image where people were afraid to break the line, you know. But now there is nobody who's scared, because if the Prime Minister can do something and get away with it, why not I? So that's the situation we are facing in India today.
Shweta, you've come across with a very safe and clear answer that the BJP supports everything. But don't you think that there is an opportunity for the party internally also? And yes, I will put that question to Pankuri Pathak as well. That there is an opportunity from within the party to say that we don't stand for this kind of campaigning behavior. And it becomes difficult when your star campaigner is being accused of, using religious sentiment to appeal for votes. I'm talking about Prime Minister Modi, or, evoking the army's name for votes, armed forces for votes, which is against the rules.
So let's, there have been a lot of talks around the army. Let me tell you that army is and stands always and has always stood for India. And we are extremely proud that it is not a connotation of a singular religion. It is not divisive. In fact, it is something that unifies India. We are talking about divisive politics being played, divisive statements being said, and when you say statements like all the Muslims should get together and vote for a specific party, and
it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
That is the point where you need to take a call, and that is the point where the Supreme Court has taken a decision.
Yeah, but it doesn't justify the other statements I spoke about.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. I stand to this fact that army cannot be divisive at all.
Yeah.
Army stands as the pride of India, and we can always talk about army as the pride of India. And let me tell you that nobody is asking for votes on behalf of the army or taking the name of the army. But when CM Yogi Adityanath ji had said Modi ki Sena, he practically meant all the people who stood with Modi ji on this decision in his leadership cadre. That's about it. Nothing else. Now, if that particular statement has been presented in the media in a certain fashion.
No, I think what people are speaking about is the Prime Minister's own appeal, when he said that will first-time voters dedicate their votes to the braves of, who undertook the Balakot strikes.
What's wrong in that?
And the Pulwama. No, but dedicate the votes to them means what?
18-year-old.
Who is he talking about?
I'm voting for the first time. I need to vote for a strong, safe country. Because I don't want
to. So isn't that appealing for votes in the name of the armed forces?
Will you please tell me, and will anybody in your panel tell me what is wrong with an 18-year-old expecting to create?
Pankuri, you want to come in on that? Where do we draw the line? Because we know that the Election Commission is also inundated with frivolous sort of complaints. But in this particular case, the BJP is arguing that what is wrong? What's the big deal if Narendra Modi said this?
Well, I am sad that they haven't realized yet what is wrong in asking for votes in the name of the army. Shwetaji was saying army is not divisive. It is not. But it is not the Indian army that is fighting the elections. It is Prime Minister Modi. So if he feels that he has taken a good leadership position, he should say that vote for what I did. Vote for my defense policy. He should never say that vote for the sacrifices made by our martyrs. And this is the first time we have seen statements like this, even though India has won numerous wars, we have carried out numerous military operations, but for the first time we are seeing a Prime Minister and the party president going on record asking for votes in the name of the sacrifices of our martyrs. So this is what is wrong, and this is what you would call the politicization of the army, because the army does not fight for Modi ji, they don't fight for the BJP. The army is India's army, and it's not just Yogi Adityanath who called the army Modi ji's army. Even after that, there were some other BJP leaders also who used the same terminology.
No, so let me come back to my broader point. The Election Commission has not yet acted on that one instance. It's possibly looking at the complaint because there have been a load of complaints about that instance and others. Meanwhile, you already have another case today of a leader who says that, you know, now we will know if you don't vote for us, and this is another really frightening thing. Let me come back to Tathagat Satpathy. You said that the Election Commission came across as weak and feeble in its actions so far. What about these bans that they've handed out? Do you think that there will be enough of a deterrent?
It won't be enough. Nothing is enough for today's situation when the head of the chief executive of the country is crossing all boundaries. And look at the supporters. You see what happens. If you have read this Timothy Snyder book on tyranny, in one of the chapters, he talks about anticipated obedience. When the followers anticipate what a leader might like, and therefore they go all out supporting how the army is not divisive, the army is not such and such. We don't need a description of the Indian army. The Indian army has no role to play in the democratic process of this country. The whole point they are not proving is by trying to disprove something, they are making it an issue. So when the chief executive of a country decides to go whole hog and not abide by the laws of the land, I'm not talking about rules, I'm talking about ethics, political ethics, democratic ethics. When the chief executive does not obey, how would you expect the minions to obey? A chief minister, a leader of the opposition, they're all much below the chief executive. Why should they obey, and how can you expect them to obey? So when a leader, for example, while talking, verges on a hate speech, the workers listening or the youngsters taking videos in their smartphones go 10 steps beyond what the leader called for. So you end up with communal riots, you end up with violence, you end up with rapes, murders, and trust me, many people have read the history of the world. When violence occurs on a large scale, then it is not somebody is going to choose that I am a Hindu, don't be violent on me, or I am a Muslim, don't be violent on me. Then nobody knows who's going to get hurt.
We've had two instances, Maneka Gandhi, and now you have this BJP leader Ramesh Katara, as quoted by news agency ANI, and that's where I'm picking it up from, claiming that if you don't vote for us, we will know, because in certain booths, if we get less votes, then we will know, especially in the Maneka Gandhi case, if it's a Muslim majority area and she is seen and heard telling voters that if I get just 50, 100 votes from here, I will know that you didn't vote for me, and then, don't come to me crying for jobs or support or, so on and such. Is it really possible to tell? Because two sets of comments like that, and that is pretty disturbing.
I see, I have quite a little bit of experience in elections. I have fought many elections, lost to, won quite a few. I know precisely that one can locate not voters but a mass, like an area, from the results of a particular ballot box or a particular EVM. It is possible to trace out where the voters of this area have tended to vote. Although individual voter, where has she or he voted, is a bit difficult to locate. But I am sure the way the BJP is threatening, that is all false. They can't really make out who has voted where. This is all bravado. This is all, again, desperation on their part to, to frighten people to vote for them. That's not possible, but a general idea can be obtained from an EVM machine as in where a particular set of voters have tended to vote.
Well, that is disturbing for sure. Pankudi wants to come in on this point. Yes, Pankudi.
I agree with what Mr. Tathagat ji is saying, and he has more experience, but I would like to differ on a point. The reason why Maneka Gandhi could say that I will know if you don't vote for me, and she even talked about grading villages according to the number of votes she gets. So that is because we normally we see that people from the same community usually reside in a particular area. So you can get a sense of which community is voting for you in what numbers. And with the ballot papers, I think it was different because you could they used to mix up all the ballots and then come out with the results. But with the EVM, because you get the results on a particular machine, so it's easier to find out, get a general sense of which community is voting for you. And that is why these new ways of coercion, these new ways of threatening people that we know who you are voting for are being used by the ruling party. So I think it's very dangerous, and it is something that needs to be addressed by the Election Commission also.
Yeah, so I've got Mr. Rawat back, and let me get this question from him as an expert on the issue. Mr. Rawat, I was asking you about these threats that are being made that in certain booths, if you don't vote for a particular party, the party will come to know, especially in booths where there is a smaller population or one community is concentrated. And we saw that in two cases, specifically in the case of Maneka Gandhi's threats. I wanted to ask you, is it really possible to know? Because the secrecy of vote is perhaps the most important part of this democratic process.
Yeah, it is not possible to know as to who voted for whom in one particular polling station, because even if it is electronic voting and time, date, stamping, etc. are there, but these are not available for anyone to see. Second thing is that that mixing of ballots, which was started earlier, for that, Election Commission has devised a new machine called a totalizer. For one round of electronic voting machines, this totalizer mixes all the ballots and delivers the result for all 14 electronic voting machines in a totaled up scenario. So, but that is not being accepted by the political and governing class, and therefore it is not coming on the center stage.
So let me ask that question again. In the current situation, without this totalizer machine that you're speaking about, in certain booths where there is more of a population of one particular community, or there are fewer voters, or like in the second case of Maneka Gandhi's violation, where she said, if I don't get 80% of the vote, if I get 80%, you are A category, if I get less, you are D category. Can political parties actually tell who's not voted for them, especially if they compare voter lists?
Not really who has not voted for them. Nobody can find that out. Only that much can be found, that out of those 1,200 or 1,000 votes in a polling station, if only 80% had voted, so out of those 800, how many votes they have got? Only that much they can find out, because polling station-wise data is released by the Election Commission.
So it should definitely, these threats should be condemned. Shweta, would you want to come here and condemn these comments that have been made by people from your party?
So let's, before I condemn, let me make this perspective very, very clear. First and foremost, technically it is impossible to figure out who has voted for whom. And I think almost everybody on your panel actually said that. Second, you also need to understand that booth-wise, you will probably get to know as to who this booth has primarily voted for and how the candidate has fared in a particular booth. Now, I think the onus lies on the Election Commission to educate our voters, our country. It is unfortunate that such a large democracy, such a strong democracy and such an old democracy still has people who do not understand that...
but the onus also lies on I agree, Shweta, but the onus also lies...
Nobody will get to know. And last but not the least, the moment, I personally feel that the moment these things do not happen in urban audiences, because urban audiences know. So it is important that we educate people. There are more people.
It is important to educate people. I completely agree, but it's also important not to threaten people and scare them.
No, so I think I have put it on record saying, and Menaka ji has put it on record saying that she apologizes.
Yes.
For her statement.
Apology is not enough. There is a yes, absolutely. The punishment is in place. Hopefully, it will be a deterrent to other politicians who think that they can get adventurous and violate the rules while campaigning for themselves ahead of this big election. I want to thank all of you for joining us on this discussion today.